Right now, without Giddens out of the game, you're going to have to drive and kick. The recipient of many of those shots is going to be Toppert. He shoots 48% from behind the three-point line, so it's very important to get the ball into his hands, and then he takes the ball and he shoots it because he is an important cog. He'll have to light it up this evening.
He'll have to light it up on the scoreboard, and lighting it up in the stands will have to be the hometown crowd. The Pit, where they average almost 16,000 all time. They've got their hands full with the mighty Aztecs and Jerome Habel. We tip next on the mountain. Stay right there. As American as it gets for San Diego State, Steve, Lorenzo Wade needs to step up. He went cold a little bit in Laramie.
He is so athletic and knocked down the jump shot. Probably the most athletic person in this game tonight.
For New Mexico, Darren Prentice, Tony Dandridge. We mentioned Chad Toppert in the open, but those two guys also need to heat up. Dandridge has had a little bit of a cold spell lately.
And Dandridge definitely has to be more aggressive now with Giddens out.
And it is a three-point ball game. There's Henfield up top, who remains in the game. He was called with that foul underneath earlier, and there's Ferris, who will work on Abacar. Turn around and won't go. Toppert hustles in. How about Chad Toppert, the local boy?
Nice move by Ferris, but now he's got to get back in transition. You go down there, it was a nice move in the lane. He saw you had single coverage, took it strong to the basket. But then, San Diego State forgets to box out Toppert. Although he's a three-point shooter, you got to make sure you box him out because he won't go to the offensive board.
Chad Toppert, the sophomore out of Albuquerque Academy.
Of the year in the Mountain West Conference, you got guys with that much ability. Abacar, you have Wade, and you have Heath, who already has been player of the year.
Toppert three, hits it. That'll bring them on their feet.
Right now, New Mexico is winning the hustle points, getting the second rebounds, really working hard on the boards.
2-point Lobo lead. Under 7.5 minutes left in the first half. Trying three to answer. It's short, banging underneath. And Pastoric is going to be called with the foul. Just checking into the game is John Pastoric. Chad Toppert, the local guy from the Duke City, duking it out with Aztecs. We'll be back.
Brandon Heath led the San Diego State with 16 points, while Mohamed Abacar added 14. Tony Dandridge had 18 points for New Mexico, and Chad Toppert contributed 12, hitting 4 of 7 from three-point range. At the time, San Diego State had a 13-5 overall record, marking its best 18-game record since the 84-85 team opened up 14-4. New Mexico dropped to 1-4 in conference play. Now let's take a look at the numbers. The Aztecs had 5 guys in double figures, led by Brandon Heath. San Diego State only went 7 players deep, while the Lobos played 11 men. Amazingly, New Mexico shot 5% better from the field than San Diego State, but couldn't come up with the victory.
Bob Toppert and Linda Toppert both played ball here in the mid-70s, the University of New Mexico. And there's Chad Toppert, their son, a sophomore, on the bench. Young Toppert with 5.
This offense is moving. They have a lot of ball movement.
Wade's first foul. There's Toppert, who hit a big three in the first, and he gets another one.
You got to credit the pick by Aaron Johnson. A nice pick on the out-of-bounds play.
Lorenzo Wade stopped, wanted a whistle. There was no whistle. He just walked out of bounds. It's a turnover. So New Mexico a chance to take the lead now.
Well, you see right here, nice pick. This is an out-of-bounds play. This is where your scouting report comes in handy. I guarantee the coaches went over that scout and said, get outside. Heath got picked behind Aaron Johnson.
And you mentioned it earlier, Steve, guys stepping up with J.R. Giddens being out of the lineup and Tony Dandridge. Toppert was a big guy against TCU on Saturday. Tonight it's been all Dandridge.
Well, right now you have 3 guys that can dribble, penetrate, in Smith, Prentice, and Dandridge. You also got to be careful if you're San Diego State with Johnson going for that offensive board.
You saw the second half chance points for New Mexico there. They don't want that. Right here, Toppert, corner, 3, they won't go. Knocked out of bounds by Habel with 0.2 of a second on the clock.
And Richie McKay, the first thing he did was to the referee, he said, get over there and see how much is on, how many seconds are left on that clock, because right now there's 0.2 of a second left. They want to see if there's any more time left.
They will do just that. Take a peek at the monitor to see if the Lobos can buy a hay second. Let's take another look at it ourselves. There's Toppert, his 3 off. Now watch the clock. Lorenzo Wade can't pull it in, and they may get a couple tenths of a second put back on there, Steve.
Well, what they have to do right now, no matter what, it's going to have to be a quick play. Prentice is going to take the ball out of bounds. You know, you may look at Johnson underneath the basket or Dandridge on the wing, but they're probably not going to have very much time to get a shot off, even if they do put a couple tenths of a second back on there.
Ball definitely hits there with 0.5 of a second. Dick Cartmel, Dan Chrisman, Chris Rastatter, our 3 officials talking it over with Steve Fisher and Richie McKay.
They're going to put 0.5 of a second on the clock, which will give them a little bit more time, and Richie McKay's going to want to talk this over, I think.
Well, Steve Wolf, who's worked his way down to the corner, post game, you may have to come back over here, man.
I'm just glad I don't have to walk up that ramp.
We're staring down the pipe of an overtime. Here is still 0.2 of a second here in the house. But from what we saw, at least a few tenths may need to go back on there.
I think what they're going to do, when I heard Richie McKay mouth the words, they're putting 0.5 back on, and what Steve Fisher's going to do, he's going to put some height in there, I'm assuming, as we see Lamb taking his warm-up jacket off. So they're going to put some height in there. They may even go 2-3 and just try to deflect everything.
Well, one of Steve Fisher's tallest guys, Jerome Hable, is 6'10", but so is Muhammad Abukar, and Abukar is on the bench. He fouled out, as did Daniel Ferris, the 6'9" sophomore for New Mexico. So it will be Hable, and there's that height. Chris Lamb, another 6'10" guy, will try to deny the inbounds with his hands in the face of Darren Prentice. 0.5 of a second on that clock.
And they're matching up man-to-man.
Here we go, Aaron Johnson, he gets it off, but he can't get it to drop. Aaron Johnson streaking to the hoop. Prentice with the inbounds right to him, and he misses the lay-in to win it. Got rid of it in time, but too strong off the glass.
He had a wide-open drive to the basket because you knew San Diego State was not going to foul him. He just missed it.
Aaron Johnson, 6 points. Had that been 8, it would have been a huge 2 for Richie McKay. Instead, we go to OT.
Number of games, so it's important that New Mexico's back on the board quickly.
Right back down, the sophomore answers. Chad Toppert ties it right back at 72 apiece. How you think the Topperts are feeling right now? Bob and Linda Toppert both played ball here for the Lobos, and Chad, 10 points. Not a bad night, 6 rebounds. He could have hit that 3, though, there at the end of regulation. Would have finished things off. Ball was knocked out of bounds, and New Mexico had one more chance to win it. And a missed lay-in sent us into overtime. Toppert, percentage-wise, 3rd in the West Conference coming into tonight. 48.7 behind the hump tonight. 2 of 6.